President Digby Bud Toroxia stood in the Oval Office, his gaze fixed on the panoramic windows that framed the hellish landscape outside. Washington, D.C., the heart of American democracy, was engulfed in flames. The once majestic skyline was obscured by billowing plumes of smoke, the air thick with the acrid stench of burning debris. Fires raged uncontrollably through the streets, casting an eerie orange glow over the city. Buildings that had stood for centuries were now crumbling husks, their windows shattered and interiors gutted by the inferno. In the days following the controversial election, the nation had teetered on the brink of chaos. Allegations of fraud and corruption had polarized the populace, sparking protests that quickly escalated into riots. The National Guard, deployed to restore order, found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer ferocity of the mobs. Clashes between protesters and law enforcement were brutal and unrelenting, each night more violent than the last. Amidst the turmoil, the foundations of the government seemed to tremble, and a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air. As the flames consumed the city, President Toroxia turned away from the window and surveyed the Oval Office. His mind raced with the enormity of the task before him. The weight of leadership pressed heavily on his shoulders, but beneath his composed exterior, a fierce resolve burned. He believed in his vision for America, a vision that had driven him to pursue the highest office in the land. Yet, as the riots raged on, he couldn't escape the nagging fear that his actions might have set the stage for the very destruction he now sought to avert. The president glanced at the array of screens displaying live feeds from around the city. Each one showed scenes of chaos, looting, fires, and violent clashes between protesters and troops. He wondered if the soldiers he had ordered to surround the White House would be able to keep him safe much longer. The thought of departing the White House in Marine One, his presidential helicopter, crossed his mind. It was a contingency plan he hoped he would never have to execute. Outside, the sounds of gunfire and explosions were a constant reminder of the city's descent into anarchy. Toroxia knew that his next moves would shape the future of the country. His decisions, made in the coming days and weeks, would either restore order or plunge the nation into deeper chaos. The embers of division had been stoked to a roaring blaze, and the choices he made now would either douse the flames or fan them into an inferno. In the midst of this turmoil, the president's closest advisers and the nation's top military leaders awaited his command. Toroxia knew that he needed to act decisively, but the path forward was fraught with peril. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him, the eyes of the nation watching and waiting. As dawn approached, casting a dim light over the ravaged city, President Toroxia steeled himself for the challenges ahead. He was determined to navigate this crisis, to bring the nation back from the brink, even as the echoes of dissent and discord reverberated through the halls of power. The era of uncertainty had begun, and at its heart stood a president grappling with his own legacy amidst the eruption of chaos.